Many people believe that violent crime actually increased in 2023, and that is not true according to FBI data. The FBI has cleared up this issue, but police departments and sheriff's departments across the country, and also our own president, Joe Biden, is giving off the perception that violent crime has actually increased when that has not been true since 2020, and even before then. And major cities including New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago have been portrayed as being overrun by violent crime. And that is not true because violent crime rates have decreased by double digits in places like New York, LA, and Chicago. And yes, during the pandemic in 2020, yes, you saw a sharp increase in violent crime, but that's because of the pandemic. The moment that it ended, it went back. The violent crime rate went back to pre-pandemic levels. And if you don't believe that, well, here's some stats from 2022 from the FBI's own website. 2022. We ain't talking about 2023 anymore. 2022. The violent crime rate decreased by 6.1% compared to 2021. So if in 2021 the violent crime rate decreased even more so, if it decreased and you get an even bigger increase, a bigger decrease here in 2022, an even bigger decrease in 2023, why in the world are we funding the police at the levels that we are? Why in the world do you see Fox News and every other right-wing rag out there claiming, oh, it's an increase in violent crime in Chicago and Portland and in Seattle and in LA and in freaking New York? All these claims, and it turns out that is a lie. A lie. In 8 different categories in 2021, 2022, and 2023, with the only exception being 2020 because it was the pandemic, have you seen decreases in more than 8 categories of violent crimes? Even property crimes have been decreasing, but you wouldn't know it because the police out there and the media have been telling you, oh, it's been increasing. And do you want to know why they do that? So they can justify giving the police military funding, building cop cities, and giving these pigs salary increases for doing no work because they're already not constitutionally bound to even protect you. Gonzalez versus Town of Castle Rock and other cases out there prove that. The police have no constitutional duty to protect you. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that several times. Why in the world are we giving them an increase in salary when the violent crime rate has decreased even in areas where they are struggling to find police officers like Minneapolis? Even in areas where you are struggling to find cops, you're seeing these decreases. Why in the world are we paying them at the level we are paying them? And in 2021, this is from the Associated Press, you saw a decrease in violent crime. So all these decreases in violent crime, and yet we are funding the police at historic levels. We are paying for police misconduct settlements. We're paying for their salary, for their gear, for the gasoline that goes in their police, in their police vehicles or their sheriff deputies' vehicles. We're paying for all this, right? Why? Because even in areas like Minneapolis, once again, you're seeing decreases in violent crime because, shocker, when you have a pandemic and you lock everybody up, you don't allow, a business to operate, well, that business owner may turn to crime. When you have a bunch of people who have lost their jobs, well, people may turn to crime. When you have Congress and the Senate debating on whether or not to give you a stimulus, but they are giving themselves pay increases, well, you may see a spike in violent crime. But the moment you open up things, the moment you let people operate, the moment you let people make money and run their business, suddenly the violent crime rate drops. So the government caused the problem and then blames citizens, namely black people, for an increase in violent crime when you cause the very conditions in which to foster the violent crime, and then you lie about it year after year after year to justify us giving more money to pigs. So there is no violent crime increase. The only increase that I'm seeing in this country is a bunch of lying police officers, sheriffs, and politicians.